Hey there, Fluties. Welcome to week 15 of our flute instructional series. I hope you all are doing well. It's crazy to think we're almost to the end of the school year. We've made it to the end of a really kind of crazy year at times, but we're almost there. And I appreciate all the hard work that you all have been putting in so far. So this week, before we get started with our play-along videos, I do want to focus on what we should be doing when we warm up, okay? Before we work on playing the song. So first, we want to always start with some long tones, and that just involves picking a note, holding it out for as long as you can. I know that one of the issues with playing flute, especially initially, is making that air last for a long time. We tend to run out of air quickly. That's normal, especially at first. So we want to pick a note, maybe an F, and we just want to play it and play it for as long as you can. And each day, try and hold it out a little bit longer, okay? So like we were just going to go, hold that note out for absolutely as long as you can until you run out of air. And do that a couple times and then move on, okay? You can pick any note you want. The other thing I want you to be working on, and this is important because some of us are doing well with this and some of us just need a little more practice with it, and that is tonguing, okay? Remember, at the beginning of every note at this point, we want to whisper two with our tongue, okay? And I want you to practice this tonguing by starting your practice sessions out by just practicing blowing your air and whispering two. Okay, get that feeling. We don't want to go, which is what I see some of us doing sometimes in our flute videos. Where in that case, we're going hoo, hoo, hoo instead of. When I whisper two, I never really stop blowing. My tongue just comes up and whispers two, but my air keeps going. It's almost as if I'm singing, okay? And then once I can do that with my air and my tongue, I want to move to doing that on my flute. Take a breath, do it again. Notice how you can hear my tongue moving. You're not hearing this. That's me hoo-hooing. Remember, we want to do two, okay? So we want to practice that as our warm-up, okay? And remember, these play-along videos that I'm going to put in later, I want you to go ahead and come back, and after you've practiced the songs, you've gotten comfortable with them, and play them along with me, because that's an important skill to have since we're not able to meet together as a group this year, although we will hopefully be doing that next year. So come back to these videos and play along with me, okay? We are this week going to have 3 exercises we're working on. We're going to start on page 14 and then move on to page 15 and talk about a couple new things for you. So let's go ahead and get started with our play-along videos. So our first play along here today is going to be number 63, New Directions. And you'll notice up here in the image I have up at the top of the screen, you do have a new note in the second measure. It's marked with that blue cursor there, and I've put the fingering underneath the note for you. That is the note F. And you're probably saying, no, wait a minute, we know an F, right? Well, sure, we know the F that's on the top line of our music staff. That's that higher sounding, right? F. This F shows up in the very bottom space of our music staff, okay? And since it is lower on the music staff, it's going to produce a lower sound, okay? The higher on the music staff notes are, the higher they sound. The lower they are, the lower they sound. This one's at the bottom space. It's a pretty low sound for our flute, okay? If you look at the fingering, the fingers are exactly the same as our other F. I know they show you to put your thumb here, but for now, we're gonna always put our thumb here, okay? So we got our thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, pointer finger, pinky, just like our other F, okay? But since this is a lower sound, we are going to move our air more slowly. It's gonna sound like this. If I move my air faster and kind of blow up towards the ceiling and get that higher sound, to get this sound, I'm going to move my air more slowly, almost like I'm whispering, and direct my air a little more down towards the floor, and it's going to sound like this. I want you to practice making that F, and also practice alternating between the high and the low F. Okay, that's going to be good practice for you. Now we're going to go ahead and play through number 63, New Directions, with that new F. Okay, let me get our metronome started and we will give it a shot. And here we go. Starts with B flat. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. Do you notice how that one used those dotted half notes we learned last week? It also has some of those Fs in there. Those may be a little challenging to get at first. That's okay. It's normal. The lower the notes get on flute, the more difficult they are to play, just because the way the instrument works. So we just have to practice producing that sound on those Fs. All right, next we are going to go on to number 66, rhythm rap. And rhythm rap has a new concept for us as well. If you look at the very, very beginning of our rhythm rap, you'll notice that instead of saying 4-4 at the beginning or 2-4, this one says 3-4. So what does that mean for us? Well, the top number tells us how many beats are in a measure. So here we have 3 beats in a measure. The 4 on the bottom simply means that a quarter note gets 1 beat. For now, that's always going to be the case. It won't always be the case later on, okay? But in this case, the only difference between like 3-4 and 4-4 is that our measures have now 3 beats instead of 4. You can see if you look at our first measure up here, there are only 3 quarter notes in the first measure, 3 beats before we move on to the next measure. Now 3-4 is going to feel a little different than 4-4. It has a little more of a kind of swaying type feel to it. So it does feel a little different, okay? So what I want to do with number 66, we're going to do this 2 times. The first time through with our metronome, we're just going to clap number 66, okay? And I'll give you ready, set, go, we'll clap through it. We'll take a break and then we're going to play through it, and I'll explain that in a minute, okay? So let's go ahead and I'll get our metronome going. I'll give you a ready, set, go, and we are going to clap together number 66. Even though it has a repeat sign at the end, we're only going to play it once, okay? And here we go. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Rest. 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 1. Rest, rest. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, nice job. Hopefully you did well with clapping that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to, we're going to do 66 again, but this time we're going to play it. We're going to pretend like every note in number 66 is the letter F, okay? The higher F, not the lower F, okay? It isn't really an F. It's not any particular letter on our flute, but we're going to pretend like it's an F, okay? And I'll get our metronome going. I'll give you ready, set, go, and we're going to play this 1 time through, not repeating it, as if every note were an F, okay? It's really important that you make sure to whisper 2 with your tongue at the beginning of each note. Okay, so go ahead and get your fingers on F, and let's give this a try. Here we go. Ready, set, go. Nice job. All right, our final play along this week is going to be number 67, 3-Beat Jam. Now, the cool thing about 67 is it uses exactly the same rhythm as number 66. If you compare in your book on page 15, number 66 and number 67, the quarter notes and where the rest fall and where the eighth notes happen, those are exactly the same. The only difference with 67 is now we have to change notes. We have to move our fingers, okay? So we've added that aspect to it. Now, since this one does have a repeat sign at the end, and I think this one is going to need a little extra practice, we're going to go ahead and play through this one twice. It is going to use that new low F that we learned today. We also have, you'll see that dotted half note at the end. Then once we get to the end the first time, we're going to jump back to the beginning and repeat it. We will play it twice, okay? So I'm going to get our metronome started. You get your fingers on B flat, I'll give you a ready, set, go, and we will play it twice. And here we go. Ready, set, go. All right, how did we do? You might have found that third measure was a little difficult. The measure that goes F, F, E flat, D, F, G, F, E flat, D, C. Sorry, I said the wrong letters first. And so if that section is difficult, you don't necessarily have to focus on practicing the entire song. You can take just that third measure and fourth measure and practice that a couple times. Do it slowly. Then do it a couple times in a row. Then go on to something else. Then the next day you practice, try and play that measure a little faster. And if you do that, start slowly, just do it a couple times each day, 4 or 5 times, move on to something else, and then the next day come back, do it a little faster, do it 4 or 5 times. If you do that over the course of 4 or 5 days, by the end of the week, you're going to be pretty solid on those fingers. So that's the best way to practice those. Okay, so what is your assignment this week? Well, you are going to practice and record to Flipgrid for me new directions, okay, using that new F. You're also going to record your rhythm rap, and I would like you to do your rhythm rap both clapping for me and playing it on an F, the higher F, okay? So 2 versions of rhythm rap, and then go ahead and record also number 67, 3-Beat Jam, okay? Keep practicing, keep up the good work, keep those videos coming. I appreciate all the work you all have put in. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing your future videos.
3, 2, 1.